Good morning. Today I'm going to be making a veggie egg bake or egg muffin cups. This is kind of a popular breakfast recipe you may have seen around. So here's a simple version that you can make your own. So I have a cup of diced bell pepper and onion here. That's the veggies I'm going to use. You can use whatever veggies you like. Chopped up broccoli, chopped up spinach, diced tomatoes, mushrooms, kind of anything you would like in an omelet will go great in here. You can saute your veggies ahead of time to tenderize them, especially if you're using something like spinach that has a lot of volume and you kind of want to cook down. Sometimes just sauteing it in a pan for about 5 minutes can be really helpful, and then putting it in the egg muffins. Or you can just go from raw, which is what I'm going to do today. So I've got my veggies prepped. I'm going to get my egg mixture. So I'm going to do 4 eggs. And again, you can modify this based on the volume that you need. This is a great recipe to make ahead so that you have breakfast ready to go. I find oftentimes when we're needing to grab something quick for breakfast, we tend to grab things that may not offer as much nutrition or hold us over as well. Things like just a quick piece of toast or a pastry or a muffin or a donut. And then, we're hungry a couple hours later. And so by having these made ahead of time, you just have a nice filling, nutritious option that's going to hold you over. So 2 tablespoons of milk, and then 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. If you really watch your sodium closely, you could leave the salt out or even cut back a little bit more. We are going to put some cheese in here, so we will get some salt from the cheese. So then just whisk this up. This will make about 6 muffins. So you could easily double it and make the full tray. I find for me personally, if I make too much of something, I tend to get sick of it after a while. And so I don't want to add to food waste, so I'd rather just make a little less and make sure I use it all up. But these do freeze well. Okay, so we want to start by greasing our muffin tins. You can also use just a baking dish for these. If I'm going to do this volume, oftentimes it'll fit in kind of a small size baking dish. It might fit in like an 8x8. But again, we want to make sure it does fully cover the bottom. So look at your dishes and kind of look at your volume. And if you have anything a little bit smaller, that might work well. All right, so we got a little bit of oil in there. And then, let's see. Just want to make sure our veggies are fairly evenly distributed in the cups. And I like to put the veggies in first because then we make sure each one has similar volume. Otherwise, if you mix the eggs and veggies all together, sometimes all the veggies kind of stay in one spot. So just do your best to even things out here. All right, and then to those veggies, we'll put our cheese. So about a 1/2 cup of cheese. Cheddar's really good in here, but I just have mozzarella that is already shredded. So to keep it easy, I'm just gonna go with this. They're both gonna work fine. You get a little more flavor from the cheddar, I would say, but again, both are good. So about even amounts in each one. It'll be about a tablespoon. And I do have my oven preheated to 375. Okay. And then I do find it helps to use a scoop when you're taking your egg out. So probably about 1/4 cup per muffin here. And they will puff up a little bit. So don't fill them all the way full. This usually covers the 6 pretty well. All right. Now, because I'm not using these other 6, I have heard filling them with a little bit of water can be helpful. Just be really careful when you're transporting this with hot water in it coming out. Want to make sure you don't burn yourself. This silicone pan seems to do okay without anything in it, so I'm just going to put it in as is. So these will take about 20 minutes, sometimes up toward 25. We want to make sure they're not jiggly at all once they are set. So in the oven they go. All right, so our egg muffins just came out of the oven. They're still quite steamy. They did take about 25 minutes for me. I checked them and there was a little bit of liquidy in the center still. So I just gave them a couple more minutes. You can't really, I mean, you could overcook them, but you can't kind of ruin them if you go a minute or two over. Best to go a little over than under. So we make sure those eggs are fully cooked. And as you notice, they did puff up quite a bit. Once they sit out here for a couple of minutes, they'll kind of sink down a little bit. And then ideally let them cool a little bit before you take them out of your muffin tins, but you'll just take your knife and kind of come right around them. Let's see if I can get it out without falling apart. And this one comes out beautifully. So they're good to go. You can eat them right away. You can keep them in the fridge for about 4 to 5 days. You can freeze them and then just microwave them when you're ready to go. And then, so to make a balanced meal out of this, we've got our proteins, we got our veggies, so adding a whole grain would be great, or a carbohydrate source. So one of the muffins that I have some recipes for, just a piece of toast could be easy. Even the fruit and yogurt parfait on the side would be kind of a nice way to complement this. So I hope you give these a try. I hope you make them your own with veggies that you like, and see what you think.